Okay, I decided to go really old school with this and use this chalkboard. I actually really enjoy chalkboards, and you may not have ever seen anybody teach with a chalkboard, but I really like these things. Anyway, what I've got for you here is a sort of a side view of the globe and some of the major biomes that you're probably familiar with. We've got tropical rainforest right here at the tropics, okay, right here around the equator. Then that goes to tropical deciduous forest. And then you have a zone of deserts where all the world's great deserts exist in these latitudes here. Then it goes to temperate forest, and then a northern coniferous forest, or of course this exists in the south as well, but you've got a coniferous forest here that's going to be much colder, and then you've got tundra above that. Now, question is, why do these things exist? How do they come to be? Why is it that there's a Sonoran desert in northern Mexico and southern United States, and then on the other side of the world there's a desert at the same latitude, right? They're deserts. They're different deserts. Different animals, different plants, but they are desert plants, okay? So why does that even happen? And this is really kind of the, segue or connected to how we end up with invasive exotic species. And I'll give you one right here in Texas. In the temperate deciduous forest where we live, then we've got beavers, okay? Beavers are an endemic species. They're native here. Now, they are down here in Tierra del Fuego, in the tip of South America. They're an invasive exotic species. It was brought there because it's the same general habitat, right? You've got a habitat generalist species. You've got a very similar biome, okay? And when that species is moved from one to the other, then things go wrong, right? Things become an invasive exotic species and things start to go bad. A lot of the invasive species that we have in our temperate deciduous forests and coniferous forests are from the same biome in China, Japan, and Russia on the other side of the globe. Because it's these weather conditions that create a similar climate and therefore create a similar biome. That's key. If you're not taking notes, then write this one. Climate controls biome. Cells here. And this is kind of where it all starts. This gets the ball rolling, as you will, on how the biomes become biomes. Is climate, right? Climate controls biomes, and then how all that starts is here. These are called Hadley cells. These are Farrell cells or Farrell cells. I've heard it pronounced two different ways. I don't really know which one it is. Talk about this portion of the diagram. What you see here is, so you know hot air rises, right? This is the warmest zone on the planet. And this is where a lot of our rain's going to be. That's why I've got this rain cloud drawn here. Hot air rises. So this hot, moist air is going to rise. It condenses, and you know that from the water cycle. You've been learning that since about 3rd grade, and you covered it in 6th grade, and probably in 9th grade as well. So you know that this warm, wet air is going to rise, condense, and rain. That's why the rainforest, why does it rain all the time in the rainforest? That's why. Now, this air up here is depleted of water. It's rained it all out. And it's going to cool off and then sink. And that sinks right over the desert. That's why the deserts are dry, because of this oscillation or circulation of air. These rotate. That's why it's freezing in the desert at night. But then in the day comes when that radiant energy from the sun is baking down. There's no water in the atmosphere to mitigate that temperature change, okay? Water and our greenhouse gases are what sort of tone down the huge temperature fluctuations that we could see in our atmosphere based on when you have intense radiant energy from the sun and then you take it away, intense radiation and take it away. Now you'll see also this effect is happening up here, is going to happen up here too. I don't have room to draw the Hadley cell in its entirety up there or down here. So we're going to have the same situation here with our tundras, okay? So our tundras and the poles are actually essentially a desert as well. It hardly ever you get precipitation there, and that's why the vegetation growth is so limited. Extremely short amounts of sunlight. It's indirect sunlight. There's periods of darkness, and there's hardly any precipitation. So that all leads to these very specialized habitats at our poles that are very fragile because the climate is so extreme and so limited. Okay, and that goes back to the previous lecture about limited energy, right? So if you've got limited water, limited solar energy, the ecosystem is just limited from the get-go, regardless of what's there, regardless of what mankind does. These were going to be fragile habitats anyway. I don't know if you'll have the ebook at the time you watch this video or not, but should you be looking, we're in Environmental Science for AP, 3rd edition by Friedland and Rayla, and all of this is covered on page 119, as is the Coriolis effect and some other things. So most ebooks run right along with the physical copy of the book. So rather than turning the page, you're just scrolling down. So you should be able to find this if you want to see different diagrams or continue to do the reading.